Excellent. Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday afternoon shenanigans. I am Cabbage Bishop on Twitch and Cabbage Warrior or whatever you want to call me, Cabbage on YouTube. And back to Sunday afternoon shenanigans again. I did a surprise stream yesterday on Twitch only, and I'm thinking about switching over to just streaming on Twitch. And hey, how's it going, Oni-chan? How you doing today? I'm thinking about switching just over to streaming on Twitch, so that way I don't have to have so many different profiles set up. But I, well, not necessarily have to. I have them set up anyway. But then maybe I can be a little bit more flexible with what I post, and I can post better highlights and everything on YouTube. So that's a different story altogether. I think you can already see I'm gonna start off with some Ori and the Blind Forest. Still loving this game, even though it's frustrating as all get up in a lot of places. But definitely having fun with it. Sweet. Okay, that's all in. So get that up and click on over here. About a third of the way through, which is a good thing. I'm actually making some progress. But if it turns out to be too frustrating at a certain point, then I'm going to end up. Okay. I don't have a controller plugged in. Why are you... Okay. Whatever. It's whatever it is. Hey! Ooh. Ah! Oh! Nope. Nope. No, you do not. Ow. That hurt. That hurt like a lot. Oh! I forgot that was there. It's been a couple weeks since I've played this. I forgot that was there at all. No! No. Up. Oh. Bye, world. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna admit I'm actually nub enough that I have to actually look up guides when I get bottlenecked at certain points, just simply because I gotta figure out where I need to go. Like, where am I going? Ah! No. How do I zoom? Oh gosh. And my controller's not plugged in. It got unplugged by the cat laying down underneath the computer desk. Oh geez. No! Zoom in. What? Stop it. What is going on? I think I know what the problem is some of my controls are probably... Yeah, here's what it is. There. My control... That's... Hang on. Give me a second. Stupid controller. Why did it default to this? Okay, now you gotta install the controller drivers? What in the world, man? Thank you. It didn't take it all that long, but thank you. Okay. And oh, now it wants to... The controller's plugged in. Neat. I borked the game. I don't know how, but I borked the game, so I'm gonna have to figure something out here. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's see if I can restart this game here. I thought I turned this off. Turn that off. Turn that off. Get it off of there. There. I thought I turned that chat off. I don't know why you were on there twice, but I thought I turned that extra chat off. Okay. .2 on this try. Let's see how this goes. Cut on over to that. Ooh, why is my CPU heating up? I've got decent fans on there. Oh, I think I know why, actually. I think I know why. Okay. Hey! Thank you, Oni-chan. Thank you so much. Okay. Light burst. Interesting. Wait, okay, I already had it on there. Okay, so I need to find, I guess I have, from what I was looking at, apparently I have to teleport to places. Haha, there we go. Okay, so I need to find, this little doohickey thingy. So I gotta go all the way back. Oh, balls. Oh, balls. Is this gonna be where I think it... Okay. Yeah, I think so. Balls. Up. Haha, haha. Okay, there's that thing right there. If I keep going that way, no, I get to a spirit well. Okay. Okay, so I gotta go down and then to the left. Okay. Run, 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 run. Bye. See you suckers later. Ow. Dude, why did you have to hit me like that, man? Why'd you have to hit me like that? Frig off. No, no. Oh, ow. Why did I do this? Why did I do this? Okay. Keep going straight and then down. Okay. Straight down to the left. Ow. Ow. But why, man? Okay, yes, I can go. I can go down from here. Oh, yay. Oh. I should have soul linked when I got out of there. Oopsies. My bad, guys. My bad. No. Getting out of here. Go, 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 go. Bye. I took a hurt there. I took a hurting there. Balls. Oh. Why am I having so much trouble today? Okay, I'm out of danger. Game saved. I don't have to do that anymore. At least I saved it right there. Oh, come on. I thought I got that one. Bye. You're not gonna take me alive. You'll never take me alive. Maybe dead, but definitely not alive. Getting out of here. Ow. Bye. Save. I'm not fighting that anymore. Ow, why did I... Why did I run into that? Bye. Bye. Oh. Oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, am I going the right way? Yes. Yes, I am. If I keep going up, I wonder if I got enough. Now, if I can open... Yeah, I think I do. I do. What's behind here? Ah. Ability cell. Oh, I need a soul link to do it. Oh, and I'm out of energy to do it. Blar. Yes. Save. Okay, what is a good one to upgrade to? Air dash. Yes, that might be what I need. Yes, I'm gonna do the air dash. I wonder how you dash in the air now. How does one dash? Dash, dash, dash. Grab, glide. Nope, that's not it. Bash. No. So link, light, burst, jump. Control. Okay. Ah. I guess I can't quite go that way yet. Okay, I probably need another ability to do something there. Yo, yo. But you know, okay, I'm just gonna advance the story. To the Valley of the Wind. Save game. Can I warp here? I can go to Horu Fields, but I kind of don't want to go there. I don't know where I want to go to the Valley of the Wind, which I need to go. It looks like up. And here we are, Valley of the Winds. Ow. Why you hit me like that? Oh, you're not? Oh, you're not familiar with the Ori, are you? Because I'm not either. I'm actually playing this blind as it is. But, the whole premise of the game is the little character I am, Ori, I'm trying to, restore the light to the spirit tree, I believe. Yes. Ow. Eat the tree. Visually, I love this game. It's so pretty and beautiful, and honestly, the very beginning of it about made me cry. It's so sad. Nope, that doesn't. Oh, okay. I probably need to flip a switch. But this is more like your puzzle platformer type game where you have to solve and figure out puzzles and how to overcome the obstacles. What just happened? Bye. Ow! Owl used tackle. It's super ow. It's super effective. How do you avoid these? Oh my gosh. Wow. At least I got health from that one, but... Oh, that's right, I've got the magnet on, so it's automatically absorbed. What in the world is going on over here? Somebody is trying to talk to me. Not anything important right now. Yep, the pling. Ah! Oh. I did that one to me. I did that one to me. Ow! Dang owls. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow. Ow, ow, ow. Ooh. Oh, oh, oh. I see something here. Ooh. Savesies. Or you can be like ninja. Can do those sick flips in the midair. Oh. Good thing I saved. I speak the language of nub, is what I speak when it comes to any kind of platforming. I'm not even joking either. Oh, hang on a second. I'm at 429 deaths. I wonder if I can... 429. Got that up. I wonder... It started, but I don't know if I can... If you guys will be able to add to it. It might be a moderator only command. I don't know. But next time I die, if you just type exclamation mark and then death plus, it should, like that. It should add to the death. Did it do it? No. No, it did not. Well then. I don't know how to do... I gotta figure out all this stuff on the chat bot. I gotta figure it all out because... Thankfully, there's no game overs. Thankfully. Ooh, that was close. No, there's somebody else. They're lurking. I can see them. It seems like there's at least, ow, a couple people who will show up and just lurk, which is perfectly fine. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to talk in chat. If that makes any sense. Huh, that's weird. Because I can see another person over on my end. Looks like I'm gonna see some water coming up ahead. We're just gonna swim under here. Bye. Eat your own projectile back. Ow! Why? Maybe I should save one. Or I can just die. Whatever strikes my fancy, I guess. Okay, well then. I saved it before I get frustrated with this, because that's kind of not the purpose of a chill stream. I'm gonna switch games to something a little bit more fun and laid back. This one. There we go. Get you over on my other screen. What was that about? The cheese? What was that about the cheese? There was something about cheese and Elliot. And I don't know what it was, but there was something about cheese. Let me see if I can. No. There was something about cheese. Oh, hang on. I switched that over for a reason. I gotta set the game up to hook in. There it goes. What I don't like doing anymore is if I start to get frustrated with the game, I stop for a little while, because one, it's not interesting for you if I keep continually failing in the same part over and over again. It's just not interesting at all, and it just makes it more frustrating on me. Why am I dropping? Holy cow, I dropped a lot of frames. I'm gonna stop the recording. I've dropped a lot of frames. Why is it red? Where is there an issue? Something has, like, just destroyed the stream quality. Looks like it's starting to come back. Okay, it's starting to come back now. That's a good thing. Yeah, there it goes. Ew. I think I know why I'm dropping frames. I think I know why. My system is sitting at about 61 degrees Celsius for the CPU. So it's running a little bit toasty right now. But having the recording stopped, it should bring that back down in a little bit. You know, I'm actually thinking of, I've been wanting to get Minecraft, but I just haven't been able to. But I'm gonna tell you, this game is pretty chill. Stardew Valley is pretty legit chill, like you wouldn't believe. Just use my scythe in the bed. There we go. Ooh, the Queen of Sauce. This week's dish, stir fry. It's a perfect way to get some healthy greens on your plate. Yes, let me just pick up my TV. What's my luck like today? Displeased. Ooh. What's the weather gonna be like tomorrow? Sunny all day. Okay. Oh, hi Clint. What you want? Hi there. Good morning. I noticed that you've been breaking up in some rocks and finding ore. That's good. If you want to get the most out of the ores you find, you'll need a furnace. Just so happens I had an extra set of blueprints lying around. Here, I want you to have them. Da-da-da-da! By the way, my character's a dude on here. The furnace allows you to smelt metal bars. The bars can be used for crafting, construction, and tool upgrades. When you've smelted a few copper bars, consider having me upgrade one of your tools. It can make your work a lot easier. Well, okay, I'm heading home. Take it easy. So I gotta craft a furnace. You can slay 10 slimes, you'll have earned your place in the Adventurers Guild. Okay. My asymmetrical fields right now. It bothers me, the lack of symmetry that I have right now. And it's just simply because I like to have like the perfectly square fields. What is going on with my stream today? Luckily, it's only a 5% frame rate drop. If it gets any higher, I'm gonna have to end the stream way early than I normally do. Which I would prefer to not do. Hi, squirrel. Bye, squirrel. Daffodil. I need to find Leah at some point. I believe I can give her... Can I give Leah? Yes, I can give her gifts. I've got 1 heart with Leah. Yes! Leah will be mine. What is going on over there? Oh yeah, I get to do the community center thing too. Oh, hi there. What an eyesore. This is the Pelican Town Community Center, or what's left of it anyway. It used to be the pride and joy of the town, always bustling with activity. Now just look at it, it's shameful. These days the young folk would rather sit in front of the TV than engage with the community. But listen to me, I sound like an old fool. Okay, it's gonna keep dropping frames until I stop, so I'm gonna stream a little bit longer, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to stop way early and let the computer just cool down, because I'm betting the heat's causing frame rate drops. Unless, let me look at something here. What do I have the clock rate set at? Because I might be bottlenecking my clock. Yeah, I might be bottlenecking the CPU clock rate. What's my RAM usage? CPU usage is at 50%, so yeah, that might be what it is. I might be bottlenecking my CPU usage. That's pretty high. Ooh, wow, that just... Ouch. It is... Yeah. Everything else is fine, but... Eee. Why is it sitting so high? Why is the temperature sitting so high? It's only going up. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna do this day, and then I'm actually gonna have to call it a stream because it's... The temperature's not going down either, so I'm gonna have to call it real early day. Pelican Town could use the money, but there's something stopping me from selling. Whoa, 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 whoa! Just slow down, Mary Lewis. What I'll try to do is, with it doing this today, with all the frame rate drops and everything, I'll try to probably try to do another stream next Saturday to make up for the lack of a good stream today. Because this is not good at all. This place is even more dilapidated than I remember. Ah, Junimo!
Be behavioral. Viscerosis. They've stolen my bushes. My bushes.
You saw something? I wouldn't be surprised if this place was full of rats. Oh, that was not a rat. You're worrying me, Cabbage.
No, you're worrying me.
Look, I think I'm going to head home. I need some lunch. Hey, I'll keep this place unlocked from now on. Maybe you can help catch that rat if you have some extra time. The rat.
Precious.
Strange. I'll have to come back and explore this building further. I'm gonna go in and do this part so I can... Whoa, whoa, why did it move so quickly right there? Whatever, okay. Okay. Now that I've seen that... Okay, I need to find Leah first. Well, actually, I need to go see Clint. I need to get those geodes broken open. What do I need to do not that, crafting, furnace. Copper and stone, okay. I'll see what all I can accomplish today, but I mean, I'm approaching 10% frame rate drop, and I haven't dropped that many frames in a long time. So something's not right, and I need to figure out what it is. Coal. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, copper. Gunther. Ja, Gunther. Gunther glieben, glauten, globen. Oh wait, I need to go find Leah. Leah, I need. Wait, what? Oh, okay, slay 10. Okay, that's whatever. Oh, I need to craft this. I didn't craft a scarecrow yet? I thought I can. Yes. Coal, 50 wood, 20 fiber. Okay. Find Leah, craft a scarecrow. Hi, Penny. Maybe I'll come after you next. Wink, wink. That looks like a good book you're reading. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it. You all saw nothing. I wasn't digging through the trash.
Bushes. Busy hobbitses. Yeah, but the master would never betray us. Stupid hobbitses. Always betray.
Okay, I need to find Leah. And don't ask why, but for some reason, I just like Leah a lot. Though I think I'm gonna try to chase Penny too. I wanna chase Leah for some reason. Hopefully I can get to a point where I can craft mayonnaise. Because apparently all the ladies in town love mayonnaise. Don't know why, they just love the mayo. Leah, where are you? Hi, Jess. Well, stop messing up. Hee, a red version of me. I think I've already got that. The rare seed will be used later. Bye. Ooh, I could. Well, if I did that, I could. I've got a graphics tablet. I could try drawing and reduce the load a lot more and see if that helps. What would you guys, what would you think? Because I can use the graphics tablet and just draw you guys like the best of what I can for you, and do it live, so you can see the you can see the fun live. Leah, where are you? Yeah, I can do that. I don't have any bream, unfortunately. No one ever runs against him. That's awful convenient, Lewis. That is awful convenient that nobody runs against you. It's a little convenient if you ask me. A little bit too convenient. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Hey, George, talk to me. I'm not wearing a sweater. This is my clothes. Yeah. No, I don't take a day off. What's a day off? Leah, where are you? You will be mine. Ooh, I could draw. Actually, the other thing I could do, because I've got that campfire, I've done this before. I haven't done it in a while. I can also find some creepy pastas if you guys are down for some creepy stories. What's that about your legs turning soft? Okay, Harvey. Whatever. Hi, Emily. Read about Dear David on Twitter. Oh, is this gonna be a really creepy story? Ooh. I am streaming using Restream, so if you see, like, if anybody watching on YouTube checks in and says anything, you'll be able to talk to them too, and they'll be able to talk back to you, so you guys can kind of chat back and forth. So yeah, I could look into that one. Oh wait, I'm looking for Leah. I'm not, whatever. Okay, must find Leah. And I probably could with Leah. I could probably be at 2 hearts by now with her, but I kind of blew it because whisper it to me, or hang on, this should work. There you go. You can join the Discord, and you can send it to me on there. I'll hop on the Discord and check it out. Because I've actually, I don't know how to grant quick permission for people to post links in chat right now, and the Streamlabs bot has link protection set up, so it'll actually prune your message out if you try to send a link. Leah, where are you hiding? Hi, Penny. You soon. Now's my chance. Have a flower. But and I don't know if I finished the story, but the day I met Leah in Stardew Valley, I I gave her wood. She doesn't like wood. Come on, Leah. I know you're gonna be at the saloon, or should be soon. I haven't done squat today in Stardew Valley. I've been looking for Leah all day. And cutscenes, but you know. Leah too. How's it going, Clint? No, don't you have work to do? Don't you have work to do? Mr. Blacksmith? Don't you have work to do? Don't you? Yeah, it's, hang on. But, no, Clint just decided to phase right on through me. It's like they know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I probably need to just end early because I'm sitting at 63 degrees Celsius, which, hang on, let me put that into Imperial. That's 148 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's my CPU. It's kind of cooking a little bit right now. It's not up to 70, which is good. But I don't like it being that high. So I gotta figure out what's up with the fans and everything. I might have put on too much thermal compound. And if I did, I gotta pull some off and redo the thermal compound again. I may have to give up on Leah for the day. Sells you some onions. And that. Do I have enough wood? I have no wood. Yeah, it is. I hate it when I have that many frames dropping too, because it makes the stream quality so bad for you guys too. Kitty. That's Sparky, my kitty. He goes, wow. So, I wonder, let me see if, like, saving Stardew Valley and then shutting down Steam will help. Because if it does, then cool. But if not, then, there may be something else factoring in. So let's see if I can bring the quality back up a little bit here. YouTube says I'm still doing good, but wonder if it's just my connection to Streamlabs. Huh. Weird. Okay. Discord. Yeah, the temp's dropping, so I wonder if let me see. Okay. Yep, I see you on Discord, Oni-chan. So cool. What's going on over here? Ooh, neat. So what do you think? Drawing or see if I can like read some creepypastas. It's an interesting thing here. Okay. I'm gonna grab up some creepypasta, see what happens. Hey, there we go. Temperature went back down below 60. Creepypastas it is. Alrighty. Ooh. Okay. Bring that over there. I see you on the Discord, so make yourself at home on the Discord as well. I've got one queued up. Let me find some atmospheric music here. So give me just a moment, and let me update everything for Twitch too. There's that. So that's updated. But yeah, so yeah, I think Steam was monopolizing. Yeah, I saw that. I think I can. Let me check the server settings. Let me see if I can. Because I know I set it high, but I don't remember. Where is? The security. Ah, okay. I had it set to table flip security. So let me save that. Okay. That should... No, don't delete server. That should give you permission to talk now. But I've got a creepypasta queued up, and then I can look into yours here in a moment. Where is music? There is music. Okay. Music, 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 music. What have we here? Back to the console. Cool. Videos. Let me listen to this one real fast. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Hang on. Let me... So the music I'm about to queue up is from a person on YouTube named Desperate Measures. And they do some really good music. So hopefully you enjoy the sweet. I will take a look at that. Okay. There. Update that. Alright, I will queue that up right after this one. Let me set that to loop. And that. There. So how's that music for the background? Bring in the chills. Okay. So this one, it's not creepy. Well, I don't want it to be like insanely creepy or anything like that. Like, I know of a few really good ones, but I want it to just kind of be kind of dark and foreboding, if that makes any sense. But if it doesn't set the mood just right, then I can find something else. But this one is called The Last Emergency Call I Took by Cinderella on creepypasta.org. I'm Nino Rodriguez. I'm a police officer, have been for a good 7 years. In my time in the force, I have seen some pretty messed up stuff, to say the least. I'm censoring a little bit on the fly, so bear with me if I kind of hesitate a little bit with the story. Crazed druggies, abusive parents, and even a few calls for help from the suicides. But none of those could ever hope to compare to an emergency call I'd taken last month. I now abhor taking emergency calls. Not because of the over-worried people calling about every little squeak in their house, the noise complaints, or even the occasional prank call. Though those could get pretty annoying. No. The worst thing about taking an emergency call is knowing that I had to sit on the other side of a phone, and no matter how much I hoped or how fast a squad car could get there, had absolutely no power over the situation. The following is, unfortunately, this situation. The day was like any other, monotonous in its predictability. It was a Wednesday night, and the end of my shift was still a ways off. Don't get me wrong, I love being a police officer, but I didn't sign up to be a secretary. I sighed and flipped through the files on my desk, absent-mindedly scanning through the different reports from earlier that day. Though nothing was of dire importance, no hit-and-runs, robberies, or violence, life in the country didn't require as much police attention as you say any of the major cities. Oh, I'm messing this up bad. My phone rang on the corner of the desk, waking me from my thoughts. 991, what's your emergency? I said in a monochrome tone. Please, I need your help, a small feminine voice answered. I leaned forward. Yes, what's the emergency, ma'am? I repeated, preparing my pen and pad. There's someone outside my house. He's standing, just standing there, she answered, sounding frightened. This was not an entirely unusual situation. There have been several different cases filed for crazed stalkers. Now, stay calm. Everything's going to be all right, I said in my most convincing and gentle tone. I then continued with the standard questions. And how long has he been there, ma'am? I don't know. I just looked out the window a while ago, and he was just standing there. He just appeared there a little while after it got dark. That was about an hour ago. And he hasn't moved an inch or ever stopped looking at me. I stopped writing. This was getting a little strange. A person just standing in one place, never moving or even looking away. Whoever this was, I had a feeling that they could be very dangerous. Okay, ma'am, we'll send an officer. What's your name and street address? Elizabeth Travel, 1465 Wellington Road. With a hum, I wrote down the address and gave it to an officer on standby, and he went on his way there. Okay, ma'am, we are sending a cruiser now. I could hear an audible sigh of relief. In the meantime, I began, can you try to describe the man to me? Do you know him? I asked, identifying the perp and making sure she was safe were the most important things at the time. Well, I definitely don't know him, or anyone with that body type. He's tall, very tall, pale and skinny, almost emaciated looking, and he's naked, I think. But I think he's too far to tell. Okay, can you see his face? Describe it for me. No, it's too dark to see his face, and I don't know how to describe it, but I know he's definitely looking at me. Has been the whole time he's been here. Are all your doors locked? I asked. I think my back door is still unlocked. I'll go lock it real quick. Okay, I'll stay on the line. I heard her walk around, and the familiar resonant click of a deadbolt lock could be heard. Okay, I am back. Now everything's locked, and he's... She trailed off. What is it, ma'am? Ma'am? I grew more and more uncomfortable in the silence. The quiet seemed to last forever until she spoke again in a more hushed tone than before. He's closer now. Before he was just at the edge of my woods, 10 yards away. But now, he's only half that. It's important that you stay calm. Now, can you see any of his features now that he's closer? Yeah, it's weird. He is naked. But I can't see any genitals, or hair, or well, any defining features. It's like he's wearing some skin-tight suit. I still cannot really see his face, but I can tell it's deformed in some way. He's still staring at me. It's so unnerving. Okay, ma'am. I'm going to need you to find a safe place to lock yourself in case anything goes wrong, I said, as calmly as possible, trying not to scare her any further. Yeah, okay. My bedroom door has a lock, and so does my bath. She trailed off once more, and I could hear a small whimper. Ma'am? Is everything alright? He's closer. Her voice was so quiet that if I was not listening so intently, I could have missed it. Ma'am? He's so much closer. I just absent-mindedly looked at my bathroom for a second, and then he cleared almost 30 yards from where he was to the house. But at least now I can make out his... Oh, God! Ma'am? My voice came out in a small peep. I was on the edge of my chair. Oh, God, his face. I can see his face. It's pressed up against the window. It's awful. His eyes are so large, like black pool balls bulging out of his head, and he has this this smile that goes on from ear to ear, or where his ears should be. She let out with a sob. I needed to stop her from getting hysterical over whatever it was on the other side of her window. Ma'am, you are going to need to go to that safe place now, I said, regaining my commanding voice. No reply. Ma'am? Ma'am? I was interrupted. Help me. Her voice begged through the speaker of the phone, and was soon followed by the sound of breaking glass. The phone clattered onto the floor with the clack of hollow plastic. She let out a loud shriek. She said various pleas, begging to be let go, but to no avail. Her screams trailed away, sounding more and more far off until I could not hear her anymore. Nothing but silence followed, and time seemed to slow to a crawl. I did not know how long I sat there waiting for something. Anything. I also did not realize how tightly I was holding onto the phone. Not until I heard the sirens of a police car and hung up. That was the squad car that I had sent out about not 15 minutes ago. How was that one? Was that a good one or kind of eh? I mean, I think it was enjoyable, though. Yeah, honestly, it was pretty well written. I was trying to censor a little bit on the fly and add some tone. I hope it came through real well. Oh no, yeah, it wasn't as creepy as I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely pretty well written. Hang on, let me. Switch off that music here. Okay. So we got Dear David over here. Oh. Oh, I think I saw this one. Stretched out, almost cramped up my shoulder muscles. Eee. Ooh, let me bookmark this. I'll see if I can make time to make a video for this one. Is that alright? Because with the video, I can try to narrow in more on those and get those edited in, whereas trying to do that on the fly on a stream probably isn't going to turn out as well. Awesome. I can't make any promises, but I will see what I can do about getting a video up for Dear David. Let me see some of these other creepypastas we got here. Do feel free, if you're not on the Discord, to jump on the Discord, but if you aren't, if you've got a creepypasta you want to share, say something in chat or something. Give me the title. Oh, I'm pretty sure. I think I've actually seen a few videos on that already. I'm definitely not the only person. I'm far from the only person who's done any kind of creepypastas or anything like that, creepypasta readings either. So, I mean, it's not like it's really anything new. Let's find some good rated ones on here. Top rated one on here I read on a live stream a couple years ago. Try to keep these a little bit short, but the frame rate's improving, so I think there was just too much load on the CPU at the time. So I might once I feel like it's steadied out a little bit, I might go back to Stardew Valley if that's all right. Um. Ooh. This is a small one, but it's really highly rated, so I wonder if this one could turn out to be real good. Let me find... some other music here. The person who, whose music I put on, I love a lot of his dark music. Because it just sets the mood. Like, if you go to YouTube and look up the Storytime videos, you'll be able to see what I mean, because the intro I used was done by him. And it's the same for the outro. Hi, puppy. Are you scared? Did I scare the puppy? Did I scare the puppy? Wait, what just crashed for you? Did the stream just crash for you, or just everything? Okay, this one could be good. The stream? You might have gotten the catch-up from the stream issues I was having earlier. That's weird. I know you're watching on Twitch. Twitch tends to have some issues for some reason. I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, I've seen it before where I'll just be watching, I'll have no problems when I'm watching other streamers, and then suddenly out of nowhere, it'll just completely stop and buffer. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But I found another good looking one. It's tiny, but it's really good. It looks really good. And I've got some music to put in the background. This might be a little bit creepier music. Let's see. Awesome. Ooh. That one I'll do next. Yes, thank you. I'll do that one next. How's this for creep factor? This one's called It's in the Fog. That's, well, at least that's the name of the music. This one was posted in 2015 by writer Josh on creepypasta.org, and it's called I'm Worried About My Son. I'm very worried about my son. More than worried at this point. Terrified. His behavior these past few weeks is not normal. Not healthy. It makes me think that there's something wrong. You can't hear that. Oh, hang on. Alright. Hang on, I forgot to, I'm a nub and forgot to unmute. I need to set up hotkeys for OBS so I can mute and unmute sounds, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna restart the story, if that's alright with you guys. There we go. Set that up here. Alright. So, those who just came in and are watching, this one is on creepypasta.org called I'm Worried About My Son. And it was posted by writer Josh back in 2015. Yeah. Alright, now let's get into this story here. It's a really short one, and then I will get into yours, Oni-chan. I'm very worried about my son. More than worried at this point. Terrified. His behavior these past few weeks is not normal. Not healthy. It makes me think that there's something wrong. At first, he would just come and stand at the doorway. He did this at night, just before I'd be ready to fall asleep. I'd roll over to turn off the lamp, and he'd be standing there, in the doorway. I used to try to speak to him. I don't do that anymore. He never has answered me. He just stares. A couple days ago, he graduated from standing in the doorway to coming in and sitting on the bed. He still doesn't speak. I have asked him what he wants. I've asked him if anything is bothering him. It's not like him to be so quiet. He usually waits until my wife is asleep. That's the part that gets me. She always falls asleep before me, and he has never come in when she's awake. But then, she didn't have a hand in this. If something doesn't change soon, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm starting to feel like he knows that I'm the one who killed him. That one was... Wow. I wasn't expecting that ending. That was a really good one. That one was really good. Yeah. Oh, that was so good. That was a tasty pasta. Alright, and let me see yours right here. No. Ooh, this one's pretty highly rated too. Ooh. I'm liking this. I'm liking this, and the frame rate percentage drop is going down, so that's a really good thing. I'm down to 9% instead of upwards of 13. Yes, nice pasta with meatballs. Ooh, about 2 minutes worth of read time too. Nice. Oh! Okay, this one can use the same music. Hang on. Let me set up that music again. There. How's the music? I turned it down a little bit so it wouldn't be so overpowering on my ears. Like, do I need to turn it up a little bit, or is it A-okay? Good. Okay. Sweet. So this one, who wrote this one? I want to make sure I mention who the credit is with these. Wow. Okay. It doesn't say. So whoever wrote this one, you know, okay. We'll see how it is. Okay, this one was back in 2016. And it's called Darkness in the Rearview Mirror. I've always been an uneasy driving alone at night. It was worse for the first few times when I had just gotten my license. But the nagging fear has never gone away to this day. It's disorienting to look into the mirrors and see nothing. And I mean nothing but the consuming blackness of the night. It makes me hesitant to check the mirrors should I see this dark void, or worse, someone sitting in my back seat staring at me. In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home alone on Highway 902 from a party. It was almost midnight, and Needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night, I was on edge. I had the radio off and could hear nothing but the muffled roar of tires on pavement and the dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rearview mirror and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. I know that I looked backward and saw nothing. I'm sure of it. Just the seemingly endless blackness of night. I remember it so clearly because not 10 seconds later, a car passed me to the left, headlights on. I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes, like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window when it's just a tree. Or when you start awake at night and with the feeling of falling. 10 seconds earlier, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. I drove all the way home, shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found 2 sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear, and one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months, but that was the first time that I distinctly remembered seeing them. In hindsight, there are 2 possibilities for what happened that night. Possibility 1. By some glitch in reality, or something paranormal, this other car had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror. Like some weird ghost crap or something. However, the second option is what makes my blood run cold whenever I consider it. It didn't even occur to me until months after the fact. But it makes me dread driving alone at night even more. Possibility 2. The car was normal. It had approached me from the rear and passed me to the left. However, something large and wide and as black as night had been clinging to the rear of my car, obscuring my view through the window and leaving deep scratches on the side. And I had inadvertently driven it home with me. Ooh. Could you imagine? Let me see if I can find an image for this. But could you imagine? What's the name? Forget the name of the. That's it. Okay. Let me put this up for a second. See if I can find a good image of it. But like instantly what came to mind when I saw that one. Oh, I stopped it. Okay. What came to mind when I saw that was grab me an image. Where is an image of this? Where's a good one? We'll go with this one. No, don't save it like that. Like that. Okay. Let me see if I can load this in real fast so you can see it. But what instantly comes to mind when I see that is this guy. This guy is Murray. He's the mascot for Dio. And like what instantly came to mind is like this big gigantic beast like Murray just like clinging onto the car, and just you can't even see it, but it's just like holding onto the car as you're driving down the road, and it's just, oh my gosh, like could you imagine driving something like that home with you? Like that just ooh. That's all I have to say. Ooh. Let's grab up some more creepypastas. Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Something like big and black like that. Just, oh. Like, hang on. I'm gonna grab another bottle of water. It's just right behind me. But I'll talk about this here in a second. But it's, ooh. There's some creepy stuff out there. Hang on. I'm gonna put the music back on because it just kind of sets the tone really nicely right now. There. Because it just sets the tone nicely for what we're talking about, but for a while I used to do paranormal investigations, and like some of the stuff that just happens in some of these places when you go back and look over it. Oh geez, Twitch, get your shit together. Because everything looks fine on my end. Let me check the stream monitor real fast. That's saying it's fine. Let me check Twitch's dashboard and see how that's running. YouTube says it's good. But how is Twitch? Ooh, 4-star creepy. Ooh, 8.4 stars. That's gonna be tasty. It's gonna be a tasty one. Yeah, Twitch says it's fine too. So, huh? I don't know. I'll have to look at the stats on quality once the stream is over with. But ooh, that's gonna be a fun one. Hang on, let me update this. Let me update the title so that way. It might be. I don't know. Twitch has had a few issues even when I've been just watching streamers. It just will stop working. Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So anyway, I used to do paranormal. Like I've done a few paranormal investigations, or what you might call ghost hunts. For most people, just those who don't do too much into the realm of the paranormal, because you've got different people when it comes to dealing with the paranormal. You've got the ghost hunters who just go out and look for activity, regardless of what it is, and then they're like, yeah, there's we had activity here, and it's like, But then you got the people who are serious about investigating it, and they go through scientifically, and they look at temperature changes, they look at the electrical current, and like all kinds of different factors in the area. When it comes to explaining activity, they'll look at, oh hey, the door is opening randomly or something, and then they'll look and see like, oh hey, but the door is off kilter, so that might cause it to open or close on its own, type deal. Like they'll look at the claims of activity, and then they'll go through and they'll try to explain them through rational causes rather than through saying it just flat out that it's a ghost, if that makes any sense. So, but I used to do I did a couple, and I still remember back when I was going back and reviewing one set of recording footage is we did what's called an EVP session, or electronic voice phenomena, and we did it with a flashlight. So like you take the little twist top flashlight and you turn it so it's just enough that it's off, but that it just takes a light tap to turn it on. Like just the smallest tap will turn it on. And you have to do this you have to make sure it's on a steady floor. Like if you do it on something that's prone to taking a lot of vibrations, you could end up with bad results, because somebody gets around and moves just right, it could shake the floor and cause it. Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, I was reviewing footage that we did at an old school before it was torn down. And like, this is an old school. It was then turned into a SWAT training facility for our local police department. And like, when you're talking SWAT officers, I mean, these guys are used to going into some really, really crazy situations. So, you gotta have like almost nerves of steel, because, there's a lot riding on a SWAT raid as it is. And even these hardened SWAT officers were scared to death of this place, like just being in there alone at night. And a lot of it is just the school is old. Like I could chalk a lot of it up to the school is just old. It was a really large building. And a lot of times the really old, really big buildings are they're the creepiest. Like just when they're empty and there's next to nothing in them, that can already put your nerves on heightened alert, so your mind becomes a little bit more overactive. But I remember being in the old janitor's office, doing an investigation there, and we did a flashlight session with the little twist top flashlights, and I was recording this, and I went back and reviewed it. I'll have to see if I still got the video somewhere. I hope I do. If I do, I may have to put it up so you guys can see it sometime, like maybe on the next stream or something. But there's a segment where I swear, we asked them like if there's anything here or anybody here, turn on this flashlight to let us know you're here. And I swear I heard a hushed okay just come right through my headphones reviewing that. And then not even 2 seconds later, just flashlights on. Just clicks on. And it was just like, whoa, dude. And I think it happened a few more times throughout that whole session where it's like, are you a male? As like, turn the flashlight on if you are, and just, okay. And then flashlights on. Okay, you can turn the flashlight off. Okay. Flashlights off. Kind of thing. And it's just like, whoa. Or another one was, we were investigating, I think the family that ran the old restaurant, it's completely condemned now. Like, nothing is even there anymore. But it was an old restaurant that was later then turned into like a haunted house type deal. And my wife was with me too. And she was reviewing the footage from the audio from my recorder. We were sitting just talking and everything, and we had split into two groups. We had the group that my wife and I were in were downstairs, and there was another group upstairs. And the background on this is there were, I think, 12 of us in the group, like just total 12 of us in this location. Of the 12 of us, only 2 of us were guys. It was myself and one other guy. But we were not in the same group. The other guy was upstairs with the other group. And my wife was reviewing the audio, and she swears up and down. I got to go back and review the notes on it, but she swears up and down that she marked the section off on the audio that when we were recording, there were 2 men having a conversation in the room outside of where we were at. and there was nobody in that room. It was weird as hell. Like, you can see some really crazy stuff. Or we did one at a cemetery around here, and I swear I saw some shadow people moving around the graves out of the corner of my eye. Like, and that's the thing though too, is they could have been like real quote unquote shadow people, but it could have also been because I'm on heightened alert and it's in my periphery. And the human eye, fun fact, the human eye doesn't like see everything that we're actually seeing. Your brain is actually making up a lot of what it doesn't see based on contextual clues from what it can process. So a lot of what's in your periphery is just made up based on what your eyes see around you and what your brain can process. So it's not uncommon that a lot of people will see like the shadows and everything in their periphery, and then when they actually turn their attention to it, that the shadows are gone because your brain just made it there, but it's not actually there. Like, it's so fun. It's so weird to go through all this stuff. It's really a fascinating field when you get down into it, like going through and debunking it. The kid in your bedroom? Hang on. Okay, so we got a 17-minute read, 8.4 out of 10. So this is going to be a tasty one. Well, I mean, excuse me, that's good. Actually, hang on. Let me see if my wife's okay with this real fast. I'll be right back. I've got a story for you. My wife told me this one from when this is something that happened to her when she was growing up, but I will, I'll be right back. I'm going to make sure she's okay with me talking about it a little bit. Okay, I am back. Okay, so she's okay with it. I was making sure that I was also recalling what she had told me as well. So in her family, she is one of 3 kids and she has 2 stepbrothers. And at the time, I think your 2 stepbrothers were living with you?
No.
They were not? They were just over?
I don't think they were there.
Oh.
It was just me, my brothers, and my mom.
Oh, okay. They were, her whole family, everybody who was expected to be home and was home at the time, because her stepdad does trucking and was doing over-the-road trucking at the time. So he was gone upwards of 6 months at a time, just because that's the nature of on-the-road trucking. And so they're sitting downstairs in their quote unquote basement. Their house is like a split level type deal where their lower level has like a balcony, like a mezzanine, and then you can take some steps down into what's like a basement, but you can still see and talk to everybody and pass stuff through. Like, it's not a complete wall off the basement. Like, it's not an underground basement type deal. And they were sitting in that area, and then it's still got an upstairs above what would be considered the main floor. So they're sitting down in what most people would call the basement, like everybody, and they're just minding their own business, and they hear their front door open, and they knew that their front door opened because they had like one of those door alarm things that it beeps when the door opens. So the door opened, beeped twice to say that the door had opened, and then the door slammed shut, locked, and they heard footsteps run up the stairs and go to what was then my wife's room, and the door slammed shut. And this is on top of seeing, what was it? They've seen the former owner who had a heart attack in their old sunroom, I believe. They have seen him, and she's nodding yes. They've seen him in their kitchen. And this guy had a heart attack and died in the house. They have seen, I think, a white wolf and a black wolf. They've seen like wolves appearing in the house and stuff like that too. Like they've seen all kinds of weird stuff in there and just had all kinds of weird stuff happen there. Nothing harmful as far as they can tell, but just definitely like creepy and unsettling when you really think about it. But I'm getting a little bit off topic, and I think you want me to read the story, so we're going to get into the next one. I wish creepypasta.com gave credits, like writing credits, to the person who wrote and submitted the pasta, so I could give proper credit to the author, because that would be great. So we're going to get onto the one you said, Oni-chan. This one is called Empty House. And I know you already know it, but just for everybody who is coming in, this one is called Empty House. Even years later, I can still remember that day. It was the first and last time I ever went out to the movies alone. The last time I went out to the movies ever. I don't feel like I'm missing out all that much, really. The movies had never been a big part of my life. I vaguely recall going out to the theater a couple of times with my mom and dad when I was little, but other than that, I'd never really cared much about seeing movies in the theater. That day, however, was different. I had seen the trailers for Massacre at Willow Peak, and despite the somewhat cheesy title, it looked good. The trailers promised that it was more than just some cheesy slasher movie, and several critics attested to that the movie was the most legitimately frightening horror movie to come out of Hollywood in years. I've never been a huge movie buff, but it looked good to me, and I didn't want to wait for it to come out on DVD, so I decided I might as well go out to the theater. I could use a little outing anyway. Of course, first I'd actually have to find a way to get out to the theater. Looking back, it's actually rather funny how adamantly my mother didn't want me to going out to the movies that day. It's been years since then, and she still says that she had a bad feeling that day. That's all rubbish, of course. In reality, it was just Mom being her usual overprotective self. It just so happened that this time her paranoia was justified. You'd have a hard time telling her that, though. Even today, she still uses that day as a cautionary tale for why boys should listen to their mothers. When I first told my mother I wanted to go out, she simply told me that my dad was tired and wouldn't be able to take me. I asked my dad, though, and he said it'd be fine. He needed to pick up some groceries anyway. My mother next said that it was too late. She only ever went to the movies during the matinee hours. I said that I would pay for the movie myself, though, and so she was forced to relent on that front. That was where things started getting nasty, as they always did when my mother didn't get her way. "Who goes to the movies alone?" I remember she said. "You're supposed to go to the movies with friends or with family. You look like a freak when you go to the movies alone." I had no idea why she was being so adamant about it, but her attempts to stop me were only strengthening my resolve to go. I was a 16-year-old boy, for crying out loud, and it was a Friday night. Luckily, Dad was on my side, and after a few more minutes of vain arguments, we were grabbing our coats and getting ready to go. Mom gave me a bottle of pepper spray as I left, which I reluctantly shoved into my pocket. I pulled my coat around me a little as I stepped out of the car and into the cool autumn air. It had rained recently. Technically speaking, it still was, but it was only a drizzle. The air was still humid and moist. Cold and humid was a combination I could do without. I hated the odd, clammy feeling that it gave me, and so I said a passing goodbye to my dad as he drove away, and quickly made my way into the building. I didn't go so quickly, though, that I forgot to stop for a moment and take in the silhouette of the Golden Reel Theater. The Golden Reel had a long history in the town, and had been there nearly since its inception. It was sad that the theater had fallen on hard times recently, Netflix and the newer movie theater across town having taken away a significant portion of its clientele. That being said, it wasn't in any serious state of disrepair. If it had been, I probably wouldn't have been going to it. It just had a few little problems. There were little cracks in the woodwork, and the bricks were rough in places where the paint had fallen off. The giant sign that was supposed to read Golden Reel in golden letters had lost some of its sheen and was fading day by day to a dull yellow. Normally, I wouldn't mind such imperfections, but the dim orange light of sunset seemed to exaggerate the building's flaws, stifling its old-time charm and giving it an ominous feeling. I couldn't help but think that this was the perfect place to see a horror movie, since the place looked like it might very well be haunted. That feeling didn't decrease in the slightest as I entered the building, having seen a sign at the ticket booth reading, "Please purchase tickets at concession stand." I guessed that it was because of the clammy weather, and didn't think twice about it as I went inside. It did feel strange, though, just walking past the deserted podium where they normally take your ticket. When I got inside, there was a single worker standing behind the concession stand. Our eyes met as I walked up to the counter. The manager must have gone home early. There was something haunting about the sight of an empty movie theater. A movie theater is supposed to be a bustling place, full of people excited about the movie they were going to see or had just gone to see. Seeing it empty the way it was, devoid of a single soul other than the man at the concession stand and myself, was more than a little sad. "It looks so hollow," I said, more to myself than to the clerk at the counter. "Empty house tonight," replied the man, tapping out one last message on his cell phone before pocketing it. Those words, "empty house," I still remember them, even now. The way he said them so nonchalantly, completely apathetic to the sadness they contained. "There's nobody here at all?" I asked. He sighed, seemingly annoyed at the thought of actually having to deal with the customer. "There's like 2 other people here," he said, and after a moment rolled his eyes at me and added, "So I guess you want tickets, right?" When I first walked into the theater, I thought I was the only one there. I was a bit early, as I tended to be, and screen vision was still on. I sat there, closing my eyes and reclining in the old yet comfortable seat. It was only after a few minutes that I detected something strange. I could hear an odd sound, a strange current underneath the inane chatter of screen vision. At first I thought the sound was mechanical, a broken vent or something giving off the rhythmical breathy sound. It was low and I could just barely hear it, but it still worried me. I saw that I was not alone in the theater, as I had originally thought. I was in the very back row. There was a man. I assumed he was homeless when I first saw him because of the way he was dressed. He was garbed in layers of tattered rags that looked like they had been worn to the point of throwing away. On his outermost layer, he had a thick black coat that looked like it had been made of nice leather at one point. His long and tangled black hair was, for the most part, covered by a large brown hat that he, somewhat rudely, was still wearing inside. His face was almost wholly obscured by the combination of a ratty old scarf and what looked like a medical mask. It struck me as odd. a homeless man being in the theater. I wondered what he was doing, spending what little money he had on a movie rather than food and shelter. But it quickly dawned on me that he most likely snuck in. It wasn't as if it would have been that difficult with one lone employee manning the concession stand. I don't know why, but his presence disturbed me somehow. Maybe it was the fact that he seemed so out of place. Or maybe it was the fact that I was alone in the theater with him. But I just didn't feel right being near him. That, along with the strange sound that I had still yet to place, was starting to make me a bit nervous. I wondered if maybe I just should have taken my mom's advice and stayed in. I sat there for a few moments, trying to regain my calm while waiting for the movie to start. It was a vain effort, though, as every breath I took only made me feel more anxious. After a bit, it dawned upon me that I had forgotten to buy snacks. Really, it was just an excuse to get up and walk around, but nonetheless, I decided to go and get myself some popcorn from the concession stand. As I got up, I saw the man turn to look at me. Our eyes met, and I thought I heard him say something in the distance. It wasn't a very large theater, but he was in the back row, and I was near the front. Once more he attempted to say something, and this time I was sure I heard him. I didn't really want to, but he was obviously trying to say something to me, so, against my better judgment, I walked up the aisle towards the man. As I got closer to him, I started to notice several things. He was indeed wearing a medical mask, one that was splotched with some yellow stain. I preferred not to speculate about what it was. His entire body was covered in sweat. Most of his skin was hidden by clothing, but I could see the perspiration beading up on his face, and there were dark stains forming on his chest even through the multiple sweaters he wore. What skin he did show was pale and ruddy. His eyes were jaundiced, and despite having rather broad shoulders, he had a general look of sickliness about him. I assumed this was the reason for the medical mask. I've always been a bit of a germaphobe, and so even being around this guy was starting to turn my stomach. The most sickening thing about him, though, was his breathing. I'd originally thought that the sound was something mechanical, and listening to that eerie noise emanating from the man's throat, I realized that no one could fault me for not recognizing the sound as being human in origin. It was a low, slow wheeze that poured rhythmically from his throat, and there was a wet gurgling sound underneath it. It was the type of wheeze you get when you have a lot of mucus in your throat, and I was barely reminded of my Aunt Valerie, who'd had whooping cough. He wasn't coughing though, just sort of gurgling. The yellow stain on his mask suddenly made more sense. "Where are you going?" he asked. I suddenly snapped to attention, realizing that I had been staring at the man. "To the concession stand," I replied automatically. It never even occurred to me that it was none of his business. Can you go for me too?" the man asked. It took me a few seconds to realize that he wanted me to go to the concession stand for him. There was something off about the way he spoke. His voice was rather high-pitched and soft. He never seemed to speak above a whisper. That wasn't the most peculiar thing about it, though. No. The most off-putting thing about his voice was the pain it seemed to cause him, as if it hurt him to just speak. It almost reminded me of the time when I was young and had strep throat. I remember, back then it hurt even just to swallow something as simple as water, let alone speak. The pained expression in his yellowing eyes combined with his rather severe stutter made me feel bad for the man. It didn't ease my apprehension, though. "I have money," he said, apparently seeing the look of uncertainty on my face. He began digging around in his trouser pockets, but seemed to be having some trouble. I noticed that he seemed to be wearing more than one pair of pants, and that the outer layer seemed to be straining at the seams. After a bit of struggling, he finally stood up in order to allow himself easier access to his pockets. I hadn't realized before now just how large this man was. I noticed his rather broad shoulders, but I hadn't anticipated just how tall he'd be. As he stood there digging in his pockets, I estimated that he must have been at least 6'7". But I honestly wouldn't have been surprised if he was over 7 foot. He found his money and then, much to my dismay, began walking over towards me. He seemed to get taller with every lumbering step he took in my direction. I looked up at him, and he held out a large hand with a few dollar bills in them. Without thinking, I reached out and took the bills from him. His hand was thick and calloused all over. He seemed to have sores on his palm, and the tips of his fingers were crusted with what looked like some sort of rash. I took the money from his hand, never even thinking about the fact that I had never actually agreed to go to the concession stand for him. At that point, with his massive frame towering over me, I probably would have agreed to anything. What do you want? I asked him. He looked down at me. For a moment, there was silence. I looked into his jaundiced eyes as the abnormal sound of his breathing spread throughout the theater. Two large lemonades and a chocolate bar, he said eventually. I nodded in reply. Now that he was standing so close to me, I was beginning to pick up a rancid scent coming from the man. It was slight, but it was there. It smelled almost like spoiled milk. Like everything else about the man, though, it was layered. Underneath the spoiled smell, there was something else. It was familiar, but I couldn't quite place what it was. I honestly just wanted to get away from the man as quickly as possible. Thank you, he said. You're welcome, I replied, smiling as best I could manage. With that, I turned and did my best to maintain a normal walking pace as I walked down the stairs and out of the theater. A huge wave of relief came over me as I walked out into the lobby. I looked down at the money that the man had given me. It was darkened and soggy with what I could only hope was sweat. Not only that, but it looked like he had only given me about $4, not nearly enough for the snacks he wanted. As I walked up to the concession stand, I considered what to do. Honestly, if I had a car, I probably would have just dumped the money in the garbage and driven home and washed my hands about 1,000 times over. I didn't have a car, though. If I wanted to go home, I would have to call my father and ask him to come get me. Normally that would be no big deal, but my dad wasn't at home at the moment. He was at the grocery store, and that was in the opposite direction from the theater. If I was lucky, assuming he just dropped everything and came immediately, he might get there in about 45 minutes, if the lights were with him, an hour if they weren't. It wasn't so much the wait that bothered me so much as it was the fact that an hour would be more than enough time for the large man in the theater to get irritated and come looking for his snacks. He might even think that I'd run off with the money that he'd given me. I did not want to make that man angry. As I walked up to the concession stand, the man at the counter gave me yet another disdainful look, clearly upset about having to actually do his job. His expression had changed, though, when I put the damn money down on the counter along with some of my own. So I guess you met him, said the concession worker, knowing look in his eye. He seemed to get a bit nervous at mentioning the man. Man, that guy came in here earlier and paid for his ticket with a bunch of soggy money. I would have turned it down if that guy wasn't the size of a house. I nodded as I ordered the man's concessions. I wasn't feeling very hungry, so I just ordered a water for myself. I mean, did you see that guy? He's wearing all these clothes that look like they came out of a trash can somewhere, and he's got all those sores. It's like he was deformed, like he was a leper or something. And did you smell him? Guy smells like fish, like rotting old fish. Seriously, all the years I've been working here, and I've never seen a freak like that. The concession worker continued on as he went about preparing my order. It was hard to make out his tone. He seemed both amused and nervous at the same time, though. This was clearly the most novel thing that had happened to him the entire evening. But at the same time, it seemed like the man scared him a little in the same way that he scared me. I personally couldn't help but think about his choice of words. Deformed, like a leper. I just started to think about the man's circumstances. Maybe he couldn't help the way he looked. Maybe he had a genetic disorder or something. If that was the truth, then what right did we have treating him in the way we were? He had just as much right to enjoy the movies as anyone else did. I took the concessions when the worker gave them to me and began to make my way back to the theater. I still couldn't help but feel nervous as I walked back into the now darkened theater. There was just something about the man, a sort of aura of uneasiness that he gave off. I walked up the stairs and realized that the man was sitting a few rows closer than he had been before. I tried to shrug this off as nothing, but my mind wouldn't let me. I noticed the smell again as I got closer to him. He had stripped off his large leather jacket, which seemed to unleash the smell. Just as the concession worker said, I could indeed smell the unique aroma of fish. It wasn't quite as bad as he made it out to be, but it was definitely there. I also noticed the way his shirts were pulled tight around his thick arms. Now that the jacket was gone, I could clearly make out his massive shoulders and barrel chest moving rhythmically with his obscene gurgling breaths. He had removed his scarf as well, and I could see that the same red rash that was on his fingers was also covering his neck, giving it an almost scaly appearance. Summoning up my courage, I walked over to the man and handed him his food. He thanked me in his pained whisper of a voice. I then went back to my seat, making sure that I was decently far away from the man. I tried not to think about the man, tried to concentrate on the movie trailers that were flashing across the screen. It was useless though. Putting him out of sight only seemed to set him more firmly in my mind. All I could think about was him there behind me. I couldn't see him, couldn't see what he was doing. For all I knew, I was watching the screen, he could be watching me. My hands were starting to sweat, and I realized that they felt sticky and odd from handling the money the man had given me earlier. I remembered the crusted rash that had been on his fingers and decided that I desperately needed to wash my hands. Using this as an excuse to get to myself, I got up and walked out of the theater, this time not even trying to hide the speed with which I did so. As I turned to leave, I looked back and, perhaps it was just my imagination, but I could have sworn that the man was sitting a row or two closer to me than he had been when I sat down. I washed my hands as thoroughly as possible when I got to the bathroom. I made the water as hot as I could without scalding myself and used a liberal amount of soap. By the time I was done, my fingers were starting to prune up. I splashed some water on my face and grabbed a paper towel from the dispenser. For a few minutes, I just stared down at my cell phone, wondering what to do. Dad would probably be still at the grocery store at this point. I felt nervous about it, but also childish. I had made such a big deal about coming here, and now I was going to call my dad to come and pick me up because I couldn't deal with a stranger. I sighed to myself and thought about what to do. When I walked back into the theater, I realized that the man had moved again. He was sitting in my row. I had no idea why, but I knew it was my row because he was sitting just a couple seats away from where I had left my drink. I thought briefly about what to do. I couldn't sit in a different row. If I did, it would be obvious that I was just doing it to avoid him, especially since my drink was still in that row, indicating where I had been. This guy was about 3 times my size, and I really didn't want to make him angry. Reluctantly, I went back to my seat and sat down. The man said nothing, although I could see through the corner of my eye that he turned in my direction. I kept my eyes firmly pointed at the screen. The movie began quietly, and so it was easy for me to hear the crinkling of the man unwrapping his chocolate bar. But I'm really not sure why, but somehow curiosity got the better of me, and I found myself slowly turning my head to look at the man. He had taken his medical mask off in order to eat, and I saw, much to my disgust, that the same red rash that covered his fingers and neck had also spread to his mouth. His lips were dark like a lifetime smoker's, and his nose seemed to hang awkwardly on his face as if it had been broken at one point, and healed improperly. None of these things are what made me leave the theater, though. What made me leave the theater was the fact that, as he leaned to take a bite of the chocolate bar, I saw inside his mouth a row of sharp, pointed teeth. Without hesitation, I instantly got out of my seat and headed for the door, not even bothering to grab my drink. As I left, I saw the man putting his mask and jacket back on. I felt a pang of guilt go through me as I thought I might have made him feel bad about his appearance. but my fear overcame my guilt, and I walked out of the theater, out of the building, and to the far end of the parking lot without further delay. There, I called my father and asked him to come pick me up. When my dad asked me why I wanted to leave, I told him that it was because I felt really sick, something that wasn't entirely a lie. I didn't really notice until I got out into the open air, but being stuck in that theater with that man had been making me steadily more and more nauseous. I didn't know whether it was the sight or the smell of the man that had done it, but I knew that had anything been in my stomach, it most likely would have been splattered all over the pavement at that point. My father made good time and got there in about 35 minutes. I never asked him, but I've always had the feeling that he drove a bit faster, having heard the fear of my voice on the phone. I didn't tell him about the man straight away. I felt childish for even calling him to get me, a sheltered little brat that couldn't deal with a stranger. I honestly hoped that I could just go to bed and forget the entire incident, that maybe someday I would look back on it and laugh. That didn't happen. 2 days later, the police showed up on my doorstep. They brought me in for questioning and asked me to tell them everything about my night at the movies. I wondered why they cared or how they even knew I had been at the movies, but told them everything I knew regardless. I told them about the man, about his rotting smell, about his deformities, about his whispering voice, and about how it made me physically ill just to be around him. They didn't believe me at first, but a similar looking man showed up on the movie theater's security camera, the few that actually worked. Eventually, they told me that they were investigating several disappearances that occurred that night. Specifically, all 12 of the assorted staff and patrons that had been at the movies that night had gone missing, with the exception of the clerk that had been working the counter. He was found mauled as if some animal had torn him apart. He was still in critical condition at the hospital and in no state to answer questions. It was the first time anything like this had ever happened in our small town. The public ate up the mystery, and the demand for information made me into somewhat of a local celebrity, much to my disdain. People were constantly asking me for interviews, and every time I told the story, I started to wish more and more that I could just forget it. I kept hoping that something else would happen that would grab people's attention, that the story would just quietly fade away so that I could just go back to my normal life. 2 years later, I moved out of the state for college. I was always intending for it to be a temporary situation. I thought I'd move back once things quieted down a little bit, but they didn't. Quite the opposite, actually. The story of that night grew into a sort of urban legend among the youth in the town. I still go home sometimes for holidays and such to visit my family. I visited the clerk in the hospital once. He was better, but he seemed to have contracted some strange disease. He had developed a strange rash on the tips of his fingers and around his mouth. He didn't talk much either because, according to the doctors, he developed painful sores in his throat and mouth that oozed a strange yellow pus. The doctors were baffled. I didn't visit him after that. For the most part, I'm happy where I am, nice and far away from the coastline. I've managed to build a good life here, away from the rumors and the talk. I've got a decent car, a good job, and some average friends. A nice, normal life. The only odd thing is, whenever my friends ask me out to the movies, I always decline. I've never told them why, and I don't intend to anytime soon. Whenever they ask me, I just look off into the distance and tell them, I'll catch it on DVD. Ooh. Ooh, that was a good one. So it seems like it was like some sort of like a werewolf type deal. I'm not entirely sure, like kind of like a werewolf kind of story, kind of creepy pasta type thing. And that was good. That was really good. Like awesome good. Oh, hey. Yeah, that was. Something just happened. Who goes there? Why did that not show up for me? What just happened? What just happened so I can say what happened? Somebody followed or did something. That's all I know. What happened? What we got here? Ah, Paris Jackson. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. How's it going? I don't know why that didn't show up, but for some reason the alert didn't come through on the Streamlabs. Maybe I don't have the bot set up right or something to pick it up. I'm gonna take a few minutes. I need to go to the bathroom real fast, so I need to take a quick restroom break. But I will come back, and we can keep reading some more creepypastas, because this is kind of fun. I'm having a little bit of fun. I don't know about you guys, but this is fun. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will come back and pull up some more creepypastas. If you got some more, you can drop them in the Discord. If you aren't on the Discord, you can get through the Discord to get to the Discord through that link. So drop them in there, and I will take a look at them. And then hopefully maybe next week I can get back to playing games again. I think today I just had too much load on my CPU, and it was driving my temperatures up. So I'll be right back, and we will get to some more creepypastas. Ooh, another 17-minute creepypasta. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. It might end up being probably one of the last ones, if that's alright, Oni-chan. Okay. I'll probably do this one and then I'll pick another one out to read, and then I'll probably start looking at wrapping up for the day. Alright. So this one is Someone Always Comes Along. Ooh, dreams and madness, locations and sights. Ooh. Ooh, it's 8.8 out of 10. Ooh, this is gonna be good. Hey there, are you lost? Me too. Aw, they're there. Don't be scared. Someone will come along. Someone always comes along. Sooner or later. I'm Amy. We can wait here till someone finds us. In the meantime, would you like to trade? Yeah, I'll tell you a story and, well, you listen to it. It's a great way to pass time, you know? So, do you want to trade? Yeah? Great. Okay, my story happened a long time ago. I got lost then, too. I kind of feel like I'm always lost, you know? It was late September when my family and I took the visit to the Great Corn Maze Farm. This was the largest corn maze in the state, and we had traveled for nearly 2 hours just to get here. The farm boasted 5 separate mazes, all intertwined into the cornfield. They ranged from Little Pumpkin Path to that was the easy level to the Devil's Labyrinth, the longest and hardest of the maze in the field. The Devil's Labyrinth was nothing to laugh about. It wound around and around in horrid circles and had long, twisting paths leading to dead ends. Without any direction, you could get completely turned around in there and spend hours trying to find your way out. Luckily, you could grab a maze map at the entrance so you wouldn't have to wander around hopelessly lost. Although for me, getting lost in a corn maze is usually half the fun. This maze had a reputation for being creepy and strange. At my high school, there were all kinds of rumors about the Great Corn Maze, especially about Devil's Labyrinth. Some kids swore that strange creatures or demonic scarecrows or other such monstrosities lived in the maze and came out at night to steal souls or eat brains or whatever. I never believed any of them. They were just lots of silly Halloween-type stories just told to frighten people. Only one rumor floated around that had any kind of menace. It was really simple, just an old newspaper clipping about a little boy that went to the Great Corn Maze last year. He went into the maze and simply never came out again. No one knew why, maybe he got lost, but things like that didn't really happen to people, and like I said, I didn't believe in silly rumors. No silly rumor was going to spoil my birthday trip. No way. Or so I believed. We drove up to the farm, bumping over the dirt roads. Eagerly, I gazed out the window at the huge green cornfield, unable to contain my excitement. I loved corn mazes, and this was the best one ever. Late September was my birthday, and this year, my family had splurged just to bring me here. I was so excited, I couldn't wait to wander through the rows of sweet-smelling corn. We pulled up to the dirt and hay field that served as a parking lot, driving our little Nissan over the rough mud ruts. We all got out, Mom, Dad, my cousin, and me. We passed by the other attractions at the farm. There was a hayride, a little train ride that went around and around, a carousel, a petting zoo, an obstacle course, an empty field for pumpkin throwing, a typical haunted house, and other various little food vendors and kid playground attractions. There weren't many people here today, and many of the vendors were closed up. But then again, it was the early part of the season. Halloween was still weeks away, so it would make sense that not everything was open. Unfortunately, they closed the maze? I exclaimed as I stared in shock at the cheap wooden sign hanging over the maze entrance, forbidding passage to my birthday adventure. Afraid so, mumbled a farmhand that worked there. Why? I asked, disappointed. Isn't the maze finished? Uh-huh. The maze is all there, but, well, the corn ain't ripe enough. Field is still too green. I don't like the way he said that. Or, somehow that hesitation in his voice told me that he was lying. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Couldn't we just go inside for a little while? No, absolutely not. But why? I didn't mean to act like such a baby, but I just couldn't help it. I told you why. Field is too green. And anyways, we ain't got the maps printed. You can't go in there without a map. I don't need a map. Without a map, ma'am. He leaned in close to whisper to me. You might get lost. I don't mind getting a little lost. For some strange reason, this seemed to upset him greatly. No, ma'am. You don't want to be lost in there. You don't ever want to be lost in there. Then he caught himself and replied more casually. I sure don't ever want to be lost in there. I always carry a map and so does everybody else. 'Cause no one wants to be lost in there, you hear? We ain't got the map, so the maze is closed. I could not believe it. My birthday trip, and the main attraction was down because they didn't have the stupid maps, and the corn wasn't ripe? It wasn't fair. As my family and I walked away to enjoy the train and the hayride, and all the other little attractions that the farm offered, I kept stealing sullen glances at the closed cornfield. I watched the beautiful green corn stalks sway in the autumn wind, beckoning me. I wanted so badly to go in there, to smell the growing corn, to run laughing down the paths with my arms outstretched, winding and twisting even ever deeper into the maze until I became lost and playfully found my way out with my map, only to rush back in and get lost all over again. But that luxury had been stolen from me. It just wasn't fair. Amy, hello? Are you lost or something? My cousin's voice snapped me out of my reverie. Huh? What? I asked if you wanted to go to the petting zoo with us, my cousin repeated. My mother joined the conversation. If you didn't want to go to the petting zoo, then you and I could go shop for some souvenirs over there. Maybe pick out a birthday present? Or you could venture over there and do the haunted house. You would have to go by yourself, though. I glanced over where the haunted house was. I enjoyed haunted houses, but I already knew this one. Plastic looking, but still with a gory edge to it. Loud music and sound effects came from that corner of the field, along with shouts from the costume people within. Yeah, I decided. I'll take in the haunted house and maybe the train ride again. Okay, sweetheart, said my mother. We'll all meet up right here again in 2 hours. Have fun. Don't get lost, sweetie. Don't get lost. I waved goodbye to my family and walked away. I should have listened to those last words. Don't get lost. But like I said, getting lost is half the fun, right? I stopped to grab an ear of roasted corn from a nearby food vendor. It was piping hot, so I left it in the bag to cool for a little while and followed the screams that led to the haunted house. I smiled, wondering what kinds of Halloween-y scenes they had made this year. As I started to go up to the entrance, a sudden gust of wind blew me back slightly. I heard a soft papery sound at my feet, and when I looked down, I saw a thin corn husk blowing in the breeze along the dusty ground. It flew up in a small whirlwind, and then breezed around the side of the haunted house. I didn't know why, but it felt like I ought to follow it. Somehow, I needed to see where the wind took it. So I darted after it. The papery husk flew in front of me, then ducked around the corner of another building. Growing ever curious, I followed around the corner. And there was the cornfield, tall and green and wonderful before me. I watched the green stalks bow with the breeze, seeming to welcome me back after a year of waiting. I caught a whiff of the green scent of corn on the breeze. It smelled like the sweetest perfume and rich and irresistible. Looking around, I saw that no one was near this part of the field, and I ducked under a feeble, roped-off walkway. I tiptoed along the outer perimeter of the cornfield, stepping carefully over ruts made by a tractor. I dared to get close enough to touch one of the growing stalks. Huh. That was weird. It seemed warm. Must be the sun, I thought. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the papery corn husk again. It floated on a gust and blew along the perimeter, staying just within my vision. I couldn't seem to help myself. I followed it, like it was drawing me to some amazing discovery, and that if I just kept going, just kept walking around the edge of the field, I would find it. And I did find it. An exit. An exit that led into the maze. I was looking at one of the 5 maze exits that led people out of the cornfield, but this time it seemed to be pulling me in. The wind swept over the corn stalks, making them bow and sway, calling to me, beckoning me to enter their lair of greenery. All day long I had been wishing that I could run into the corn maze, run and laugh and enjoy the winding trails that led through the corn rows, and now here was my chance. Nervously, I looked around, afraid that I would get caught wandering around. But the area was empty. Nobody noticed me. The coast was clear. Cautiously, I tiptoed up to the maze pathway, their perfumed scent flooding my mind with a kind of childlike joy, and silently I entered the lush jungle of bowing stalks. Left turn, right turn, middle fork, left turn, right turn, dead end. Go back and take the right fork. I was grinning and running with my arms outstretched as though I could fly. My fingertips grazed past the ears of green corn, not yet ripe. One hand clutched my bag with my ear of roasted corn still in it. I was so happy. I felt this total euphoric freedom and rebellion against these stupid people that had closed the maze today. I couldn't see why they had. The field was perfect. Maybe a little muddy, perhaps, but otherwise perfect. I ran and ran, trying not to laugh with joy, lest someone heard me and caught me. I danced around the corners, loving the smell of the fresh green stalks, and the feel of the warm sun and cool breezes. Oops, another dead end. I grinned and spun around, taking another right fork and running around a zigzag of freestanding stalks in a large square clearing before finally coming to a halt. Breathing hard but feeling amazingly happy as my birthday wish had come true. I took out my cooled ear of roasted corn and bit into it. The sweet taste of the golden kernels mixed with the melted butter had never tasted so sweet as they did in that beautiful field. I gobbled up about half of the ear and put it back in and decided that it was time to head back the way I had come. I had my fun, but I sure didn't want to get caught in here. I gazed around the large square empty clearing with joy, then turned back towards the entrance path, or rather, the exit path. Right? Take a left turn, right turn, left, right, left. I stepped back along the path, trying to recall the way I had come. Most of the path looked okay, but it seemed to be taking a while. I turned left again and again. Then the path went straight for a while and came to a fork. Did I take that fork from the left or from the right? I thought to myself. I kept going further and further. For no apparent reason, an image from the story of Alice in Wonderland slicked into my mind. Poor Alice was wandering through the Tulgey wood and getting lost. And she kept saying to herself, did I come this way or that way? This way or that way? Wait, I don't remember a T-junction here, I said out loud. A flicker of worry crossed my mind. I didn't have a map, and I was starting to not remember coming this way at all. We ain't got no maps. Without a map, you might get lost. The farmhand's warning floated through my mind like the echoing moan of a lonely ghost. I shook off my slight fear and doubled back for a while. At the next junction, I took a different path, certain that I would find my way back to the exit again. After all, I hadn't come that far, had I? The wind blew the stalks together and made murmuring noises. This way or that way? This way or that way? They seemed to be whispering. I felt a slight touch of claustrophobia as I gazed at the green pillars growing high above my head. Where at first the corn stalks had seemed so welcoming, now they seemed to be staring down at me, lifeless green husk eyes that followed my every move as I continued down the winding, twisting paths. A series of left turns gave me a sudden flash of hope. and then crushed me as I came to an unfamiliar dead end. I was getting lost, but this time it wasn't fun. Panic started to grip at my heart. I ran faster down the pathway, looking down every corner for a familiar junction, somewhere I knew I had been. Had I come this way, or did I go that way? This way, or that way? This way, or that way? My heart was starting to pound frightfully in my chest. I looked toward the green stalks for some kind of answer, but now the rose seemed to glare coldly back at me. The pathway looked darker and more forbidding. I stopped along the path, trying to get my heartbeats to slow down. I breathed hard, trying to calm down. I had to still be near the rest of the farm. I listened for the sound from one of the other rides, the whistle from the train ride, the familiar sound effects coming from the haunted house. I listened expecting to hear phony screams and families laughing. I listened for any sound that might give me comfort. All I heard was the rustling whisper of the wind through the corn. And footsteps. Footsteps! I concentrated hard as I stayed where I was and listened. Yes, soft footsteps coming from in front of me. No, behind me. No. Where were they? I spun around trying to find a person, a face, some source of the tiny footfalls. Was that a child walking so softly? Hello? I called out. I no longer cared if I got caught by the farm workers anymore. I just wanted to be out of there. I wanted to be out of the maze and with my family. I wanted to not be lost anymore. Hello? Silence. The footsteps had stopped. Even the wind had stopped. Oh, Amy, why did you wander in here? I asked myself, shivering. Why didn't you listen to the workers and just stay out of the maze? I didn't even know which maze I was in. The exits all looked alike. I really hoped I wasn't in the Devil's Labyrinth. Without a map, it might be dark before I managed to find my way out again. I started to run down the path. It couldn't be much farther, I thought. I ran faster and faster. A few of the green husks slapped my face. The ground grew wetter and slippery. Suddenly, I tripped over a broken cornstalk and went sprawling. Down, face down into a patch of rotten-smelling mud. Pain shot up my knee and my left side, and I gagged as my mouth filled with the greasy muck. I spat and groaned and tried to not be sick. God, I hope they didn't use pesticides in the corn. Wiping mud from my hands and my face, I looked down and saw that my left knee was bleeding. My jeans torn, my shirt ripped where it caught on a sharp ear of corn. All I kept thinking was, how could I have let myself get lost in this maze? I glared at the corn stalks around me. Now I was angry. I felt betrayed, like this maze had lured me in here, like the sweet sticky maw of a Venus flytrap. Here I was, lost and afraid, and struggling to get out. I stared up at the yellowing stalks and wanted to scream. Furiously, I grabbed a nearby ear of ripe corn and shook the dry husk from the cob. I blinked at the ripening kernels. Slowly, I looked around at the golden yellow stalks, swaying like a dry wheat field. I thought the corn was still green. Why did this area seem so dry and yellow? My questions went unanswered as a sudden chill ran down my spine. I turned around and tried to go back the way I had come. But this wasn't the way I had come. Not at all. The pathway seemed totally different now. The furrows were dry, not muddy like they had been before, and the corn was ripe and golden everywhere, and the wind felt cold and crisp, like late October wind, or mid-November wind. I shivered and turned down a long, unfamiliar corridor with a dozen different paths to follow. I tried the first left path and got a dead end. I tried to turn around, but suddenly the corridor wasn't there, and the path veered off to the right. I went along the path until the path split into a fork. I went left, but soon changed my mind and turned to take the right path. But there was no right path. The corn rows had closed into a dead end behind me. I couldn't understand any of this. Was I going this way, or was I coming that way? This way or that way? This way or that way? I fled down the pathways faster and faster, feeling panic rise in my chest and an acidic bile taste rising steadily in my throat. My heart began to pound and my bleeding knee throbbed. Every few seconds I looked behind me, and each time the paths were different than they had been before. Then I flew back around again, only to find the open path I had been walking had turned into another dry dead end. Now the dead end was behind me. Now there were 2 dead ends and no paths. Now the dead ends were really a 4-way intersection that stretched on and on forever. My head started to spin. Nothing was making sense anymore. This way or that way. This way or that way. I clutched at my ears and shut my eyes tightly. Stop it, I thought. This isn't happening. This is not happening. You've got to pull yourself together and get out of this damn maze. I stayed like that for a while, thinking, hoping it was a dream, that I would open my eyes and be safe in bed. But I could still hear the wind rustle through the rows, mocking me. This way or that way. This way or that way. I opened my eyes and finally saw a place that I had been before. The old square clearing with the zigzag of freestanding corn stalks. I had somehow wandered back into that same clearing again. Only, the corn stalks were now a rich golden yellow. The husks papery thin, and many of them littered the pathway. The ears of corn were going dry and overripe. The sky was stormy gray with a cold, bitter wind that whipped at my face. I trembled with fear. Just how long had I been in this field? It had only been a little while, right? A few minutes? A few hours? A few days? A few weeks? No. I couldn't let myself think like that. It wasn't possible. I simply couldn't have been lost in here for that long. Could I? Voices floated in my head. More disembodied ghostly moans. Warnings that I had not listened to. My friends telling me their scary rumor stories. People would wander into the maze. They would say, and never come out again. They would go on wandering this way or that way, this way or that way, and never be seen again. Help! I finally screamed. I grasped the dry corn stalks and shook them like prison bars. Somebody help me! I can't get out! I'm lost! Help me! I cried and shook and ran around the clearing, feeling terrified. I was afraid to venture along another path, afraid I might never find my way out again. Afraid that I would be lost among the rows and rows of corn stalks, wandering this way and that way forever. Wait. I suddenly looked down and realized that I was still holding the bag that held the half-eaten roasted ear of corn that I had bought. I opened it and quickly. Perhaps the sight of that fresh roasted food might bring me back to reality. Might remind me that I was not really in this Rip Van Winkle nightmare all around me. I grabbed the wrapped paper that held the other half of the corn cob and opened my mouth wide to bite into that sweet buttery corn, to taste reality. And screamed as a million crawling black bugs swarmed out of the paper bag, down my hands, arms, and into my mouth. Oh! I flung the bag away and swatted at the mass of legs and black shells furiously. I felt them slide down my shirt, wriggling up my sleeves, crawling up my face, biting me, stinging me everywhere, millions of them. I gagged as I felt a stinging, crawling sensation inside my mouth. And bending over, I puked my guts out, watching as the black intruders struggled in the pool of sick brown liquid. Somewhere in my mind, I wondered if I had really eaten any corn at all, or if I had really been eating those stinging black bugs the whole time. Ugh. I ran without stopping or thinking. I couldn't see any paths anymore, just corn, rows and rows of corn, stretching endlessly on and on. I ran, stumbling over the rutted corn rows, the dry stalks clutching at my hair, ducking under dry corn husks swaying with bugs and mold, The stench of dry, rotting plants invaded my nose, and I still ran. I ran till I couldn't see. I ran till my sides ached, till I couldn't breathe. And still I ran and ran, and finally I tripped and fell into a puddle of mud. Ugh, I gagged as the muddy water filled my mouth and nose. I sat up quickly and wiped my eyes, but I felt afraid to open them, afraid of what I would see now. I froze as the faint sound of soft footsteps approached me. "Are you okay?" asked a tiny voice. "Huh?" I looked up and quickly saw a young boy, about 6 or 7. He was looking down at me in the puddle I just fell into. I looked around at the normal green corn rows, the simple square clearing with the zigzag of green cornstalks, the muddy ruts, sounds from the nearby train and haunted house attractions wafted by. The perfumed scent of green corn drifted around us. Everything was normal. Everything was okay. "Yeah, kid." I exhaled a sigh of relief as I wiped muddy water away from my face and grinned. "I'm doing great." "Want to trade?" he said, holding out a napkin for me to wipe the mud off with. "Sure." I took the napkin and wiped my face with it and stood up. I looked at the dusty little face. And realized I had nothing to trade with. "How come you were in here?" I asked. "I got lost," he said. "But I knew that someone would come along and find me. Someone always comes along. That's what she told me." Who told you?" I asked, mildly confused. I started to notice the dark circles under his eyes and the haunting way he was looking at me. "The girl I saw when I got lost in here. I met a girl, and she was lost. And she had met another girl who was lost, and the other girl met a man with a cloak and scary eyes. The man said, whenever a person gets lost in here, they have to wait for someone to come along. And when they do, then they can trade." "Trade? Trade what?" I felt my mouth go dry. Why did this thin little kid scare me so badly? The little boy let out a sigh like the dry rustling sound of the cornstalks. "Trade souls, so that the person who is lost in here can go home." I decided right then and there that I didn't like this story at all. I dropped the napkin he had given me and started to back away. He looked up at me with his haunted eyes and gave that low rustling sigh again. "Mommy told me not to go in here, but I did. I didn't have a map, so I got lost, and I didn't know how to get out. I went this way, and I went that way, but I couldn't get out. Then I met that girl, and she wanted me to trade with her, and I did. I've been lost in here for a whole year." Wait. My mind was reeling from the strain of trying to make sense of it all. The corn, the changing, frightening corn maze, and now this haunted thin figure masquerading as a little boy. "You couldn't be lost in here that long. You just couldn't. Someone would find you. Someone would help," I sputtered into a silence. His dusty head shook from side to side as though it were blown by the parched wind. "Not where we are lost in here. No one can find us if we are lost." The ghostly warning voices returned with a laughing, ironic hopelessness. "Without a map, you might get lost. You don't ever want to be lost in there. I always carry a map. No one wants to get lost. Even my own mother's voice calling to me. 'Don't get lost, sweetie. Don't get lost.' The maps," I whispered more to myself than anything. They didn't open the maze because they didn't have any maps. I didn't have a map, so I got lost. His eyes gazed hollowly from the dusty, solemn face. "Everybody else always has a map, so they never get lost. So they never found me. Until you came along." The skeletal little figure bent down and picked up the napkin. When he looked up again, he was smiling. His smile resembled that of a grinning skull. A death smile. "Thank you for trading with me." No. I shook my head violently, as though trying to shake off muddy water or crawling black bugs or moldy ears of corn. I scrambled for the nearest path, and the sounds of the rest of the farm seemed to be fading into the distance. I chased them hopelessly. "Please!" I begged the corn, to the sky, to anybody. "Please, let me out. I don't want to be lost anymore." The wind whipped at my face like a knife, an icy cold, jagged knife at my heart. So sharp, so cold. His tiny haunted voice seemed to float into my ears. "Don't be scared. The other girl told me that someone will come along, and you will get to trade souls and go home. Sooner or later, someone will come along. Someone always comes along." Creepy, huh? Yeah, that happened to me about 5 years ago. Still gets me every time I think about it. I wonder how he's doing sometimes. But anyway, that's my story. Oh, and by the way, thanks for trading with me. Remember, I asked if you wanted to trade with me, and you did. It won't do you any good to run away. This coin maze won't let you go until you've made the trade, believe me. After 5 years of wandering this way and wandering that way, I know. The maze will keep you lost and won't let you go. But don't be scared. You'll get your chance. Sooner or later, someone will come along. Someone always comes along. Oh, that was a good one. That was really good. Like, oh my gosh. That was some... I think it was because I paced it out a little bit more. Like, I paused a little bit more than it normally allots for. They estimate the reading time, but generally the reading time is on the narrator. So, like, if I spoke a little bit faster, I could have had it done in about maybe 10 minutes or so. Or if I spoke slower, it could have taken longer. But it was probably closer to 20. Excuse me. But it's because of the way I paused and the narration style I kind of went with. And actually, I see a credit down here at the bottom for BJ Bird, so if whoever BJ Bird is stumbles across this, great story. That was a really good one. That one was really good. I think one more ought to do it, and then it'll be time to call it a day. Let's see what we got here. So the spy rating, come on. Actually, let me see creepypasta.com. Ooh, actually, I've got one I wrote. Do you guys want to hear it? Thank you. I try to find the good ones that really, really set the mood. Because when they set the mood just right, it's so much better than just kind of throwing something together. So, I can share the one I did to kind of close it out if you want. It's one I kind of came up with. And, sorry, weird sound. I've never had the chance to really debut it because I couldn't quite get it right as far as recording it, but how'd you guys just like to hear it more on the, live end instead? Alright, hang on. Let me get everything I need here. I'm gonna mute my microphone. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab. I need one thing for this, like physically need one thing for this. So I'm gonna grab that and I'll be right back, and I'll step right on into it. Okay, so I call this one the Stranger, okay? So be ready for this. Huh. It's interesting stuff here. Authorities are on the lookout for a suspicious person. They believe he is related to the disappearances of several families in the area. Nothing much is known. The only thing they can say is that the families just seem to have vanished from their homes. And there appear to be no signs of forced entry. It's just as though they've disappeared into nothing. Neighbors have reported seeing a man visiting these families before they disappear. And they describe him as being tall, wearing a dark suit and a wide brim hat. I guess I'm gonna have to work on my appearance. That's it. It's probably it sounds a lot better in my head, but it definitely doesn't, like, I can't seem to get it right, if that makes any sense. I want to have a really good I want to set the tone for it really well, but I don't think I've got it quite right yet. But that was pretty much it. Is like from the point of view of, like, you got this madman, like the supernatural entity, reading the newspaper about people who have been abducted by him, and they describe how the neighbors can describe what he looks like, and he's just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to change my look, kind of thing. But I think that's gonna be the end of this stream. So I would really issues aside, honestly, Owner-chan, thank you for suggesting that I could actually just roll into something else and going into bearing with me while I do these creepypastas and everything. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much. To close this out, I know you guys won't see it on YouTube, so I'm gonna say goodnight to YouTube. Ooh, what in the world? What's going on over here? Why does my restream monitor have a cry? Nothing showing up. Oh boy. Oh boy. My temperature just really spiked. What the hell just happened? Why am I not logged into Restream anymore? Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, it's weird. My chat monitor just went out. That's weird. So, YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and shut you off. I will see you guys next week. I might do more surprise streams on Twitch, and I'm considering switching over to Twitch only, just so I can have all the infrastructure in like one place as far as everything I need. So I'll see YouTube next week. Oh. Well then. I don't know if I can do that. Let's go ahead and stop that. I don't know why it spiked up real high at the end. But anyway, to close this out, we're gonna drop a raid on somebody for everybody who's on Twitch. Cool person that I like to watch every now and then too. So we're gonna drop a raid on them on Twitch. Nope, not image. Link. So we're gonna drop a raid on Mediocre Pixels. So we're gonna go over there, and when I post that message, never fear, the Cabbage Brigade is here, you guys also post it into chat as well if you feel up to it. You don't have to. And we're gonna call that a stream, and I will see all of you guys next time, okay?